In the beginning, before empires rose and crowns gleamed in golden halls, there was only fire and silence. From the molten breath of the earth, the gods wove creation. They carved seas into the land, stitched stars into the sky, and seeded mortals with fragile life. But among their works, one thing was forbidden: the first fire. It was not flame as mortals knew it, but living essence, a power to command the elements, to shape worlds, to rival the gods themselves. Fearing what mortals might do with it, the gods locked this fire away and swore a pact among themselves. Their covenant was sealed with a prophecy carved into ash and blood. When mortals steal fire not meant for their hands, the sky shall darken, the seas shall boil, and from their folly shall rise the world's undoing. The betrayer will be the savior, and the savior will be the betrayer. The prophecy of ashes, it was hidden in ruins, buried beneath temples, and erased from mortal tongues. But fire, once lit, is never truly extinguished. In the empire of Vather, might was the law. Its legions stretched from desert to sea, and its emperor, Darius Dravos, ruled with an iron hand. His eldest son, Prince Eric, was heir to a warrior bathed in glory. His second son, Kellen, was different. Kellen was no soldier. He had no taste for conquest or courts. Instead, he wandered libraries, tombs, and ruins, gathering fragments of a history most considered dangerous. To the empire, he was a scholar. To priests, a blasphemer. And then he found the Codex of Embers, bound in blackened leather, its pages scorched and inked in runes that flickered like dying coals. The Codex whispered of the first fire. It spoke of forbidden rites, of gods who feared their own creation, and of power vast enough to unmake kingdoms. Kellen should have destroyed it. Instead, he studied it, night after night. Candlelight flickered over the Codex as the words burned their way into his soul. It was not long before the fire answered. At first, the magic came in sparks, shadows that danced unnaturally, whispers in a tongue not his own, a warmth under his skin that felt alive. Then came visions of cities consumed in flame, towers collapsing into ash, a crown melting in molten ruin, and always the same voice: the betrayer will be the savior, and the savior will be the betrayer. Kellen's nights were haunted, but he pressed on. Forbidden knowledge had sunk its claws into him. Only one person saw the truth beneath his silence: Lysara, daughter of a priestess, trained as a healer. She found him one night in the archives, trembling over the codex, hands scorched with fire that left no wound. He expected her to recoil, to condemn him as the priests would. Instead, she placed her hand gently over his and whispered, "Some chains must be broken, even if the gods themselves forged them." Their bond was not spoken of in public. It was not the fiery passion of forbidden lovers, but a fragile tether that grew in secret. When the fire threatened to consume him, she calmed it. When fear clouded her, he steadied her. It was affection, not yet love, and yet more dangerous than either of them admitted. When war came to Vather, Kellen's curse became the empire's salvation. A coalition of rival kingdoms descended upon the empire's borders, their armies vast, their siege engines poised to crush Vather once and for all. Kellen stood on the battlefield, the codex in his hands, fire coursing through his veins. The sky turned black. Winds howled with the roar of 1,000 storms, and with a cry that shook heaven itself, Kellen unleashed the forbidden fire. Tens of thousands of soldiers were reduced to cinders. Earth melted into glass. The battlefield became a wasteland of smoke and bone. To the people, Kellen was hailed as a savior. Songs were whispered of the prince who wielded godfire. But in the temples, priests trembled. The prophecy had stirred, and in the emperor's heart, fear bloomed. For what throne could stand when a man commanded fire itself? The empire turned against him. Priests called for Kellen's execution. The codex was declared a blasphemy. Soldiers whispered of his power with terror. Even Emperor Darius, his father, declared him an abomination. Only Eric, his elder brother, offered comfort. "Do not fear, brother," he said. "I will protect you. I will stand against any who would see you undone." Kellen wanted to believe him. But Lysara was not deceived. She had seen the hunger in Eric's eyes, the way he studied Kellen's fire as if it were a crown he longed to claim. So Kellen and Lysara fled. Together they sought refuge in the first temple, the ruins where the gods had sealed the prophecy of ashes. Its walls pulsed with forgotten power, its stones carved with runes no priest dared to read. There, Kellen discovered the truth. the prophecy was not a warning to mortals. It was a weapon of the gods, a chain woven into destiny to keep mankind bound, forever afraid of reaching the high. But Kellen was done with chains. In the temple's heart lay an altar of obsidian, upon which the codex of embers glowed with living flame. Kellen prepared the rite of ashes, a ritual to break the gods' covenant and free mortals from divine tyranny. The air split with firestorms. Statues of the gods wept molten tears. Across the empire, the earth trembled as the heavens stirred. Lysara stood beside him, chanting words she barely understood, lending her life's energy to steady his burning soul. Her touch anchored him when the fire raged fiercely. For a heartbeat, it seemed they might succeed. The chains of fate cracked. The gods stirred in fear, and then came the betrayal. Prince Eric entered the temple with the Imperial Guard at his back. He had promised to shield his brother, sworn his loyalty. Yet ambition burned brighter than blood. "Forgive me, Kellen," Eric whispered, his sword gleaming with divine steel gifted by the priests. But empires are not saved by scholars. They are ruled by kings. Before Kellen could speak, Eric struck Lysara. Her cry echoed through the temple as blood splattered across the codex. Kellen's scream split the heavens. The forbidden fire erupted, no longer bound by restraint. His body became a vessel of flame, his soul stretched between mortality and godhood. The temple shook, its walls collapsing as fire consumed the sky and stone alike. Lysara's last gaze was not of fear, but sorrow. Sorrow for the man she had steadied, the man she could not save. The prophecy fulfilled itself in cruel irony. The betrayer became the savior, hailed as the one who ended the firestorm, and the savior Kellen was damned as the betrayer, remembered as the cursed prince who nearly destroyed the world. Vathor survived, though scarred. Eric rose as emperor, lauded as the one who vanquished the fire. Priests declared the gods victorious, their covenant upheld. But in the ruins of the first temple, whispers lingered. Some claimed Kellen's body was never found. Some swore that in the stillness of night, the earth trembled with his breath, the embers of forbidden fire waiting to rise again. And so the prophecy of ashes endures, a cruel cycle of destiny, betrayal, and flame. For when gods fear mortals, the end is never truly written. So I ask you this, if prophecy itself is nothing but chains forged by gods, can mortals ever break free? Or are we doomed to burn in the fire of destinies not our own? If you want more stories of forbidden magic, ancient empires, and the battles between gods and men, subscribe now and join me in uncovering the darkest legends ever told.